All right, let's dive into one of the most intense, thought-provoking chapters in all of literature. We're talking about the Grand Inquisitor, a story tucked inside Dostoevsky's masterpiece, The Brothers Karamazov. And really, it's this epic philosophical clash over what it means to be human, faith, power, and the price of our freedom. Imagine this. Jesus Christ returns to Earth. But instead of being celebrated, he's arrested and confronted by a powerful church leader who looks him in the eye and asks, "Why are you here? You're just getting in our way." I mean, what a question. It just immediately sets the stage for this incredible showdown. So where does this all go down? We're in 16th century Seville, Spain. And this is right at the peak of the Spanish Inquisition. So, this is not a gentle, happy place. This is a world of absolute, terrifying authority.
To really get the picture, Dostoevsky tells us that fires are burning heretics pretty much every single day. In fact, just the day before our story starts, the Grand Inquisitor himself oversaw the execution of about 100 people. So into this world of smoke and fear, a silent figure just appears. And somehow, without him saying a word, everyone knows exactly who he is.
His presence is just magnetic. The people who live in constant fear just flock to him. And with this smile of infinite compassion, he starts performing miracles. He touches a blind man and suddenly the man can see. People are weeping, they're kissing the ground he walks on. It's pure love landing in a world that's run by fear. And then comes the biggest miracle of all. A funeral procession for a little 7-year-old girl is passing by. Her mother begs him for help. He just says a few words and brings the child back to life. The whole crowd just erupts. It's this unbelievable moment of divine power. Well, all this commotion is not going to go unnoticed. It catches the eye of the one man who runs this city, the Cardinal Grand Inquisitor. He's this imposing 90-year-old man, and he sees the whole thing. He sees the miracle, he sees the adoration of the crowd, and his face just darkens. And this is where you see the Inquisitor's terrifying power. He doesn't need to shout or make a speech, he just points a finger, and the crowd, these same people who just saw a dead child brought back to life, they go completely silent. They part like the sea and let the guards arrest him without a single protest. That's how completely broken they are. Okay, so now we get to the real heart of the story. Later that night, the Inquisitor goes down to the dark prison cell to face his prisoner, and what follows is one of the most famous, most chilling monologues ever written, where he explains why Christ's return is actually a huge problem. So the Inquisitor's whole argument boils down to this huge clash of visions. He basically accuses Christ of giving humanity a gift it can't possibly handle, free will. He says people don't want some spiritual bread of heaven. They want actual food on the table. They don't want the agony of choice. They want to be told what to do so they can feel safe and happy. And this line right here, this is the core of it all. The Inquisitor is convinced that deep down, human beings are weak, pathetic, and absolutely terrified of freedom. So terrified, in fact, that they will gladly trade it away for a little bit of comfort and security. And he says, we, the church, we get that. You didn't. And he pushes it even further with this brutal idea. He says that by respecting humanity so much, by thinking they were strong enough to handle total freedom, Christ was actually being cruel. It's a paradox, right? He's arguing that it would have been more loving to treat people like the weak creatures they are, because it would have made their lives easier. So if Christ's way was wrong, what's the Inquisitor's fix? Well, he lays out his whole game plan. He has a 3-part strategy to control humanity, and in his mind, to finally make them happy. These are the 3 pillars of his system. First, miracle. People crave magic and wonder, so give it to them. Second, mystery. Give them something they can't possibly understand, so they'll stop trying to think for themselves and just worship. And third, authority. You have to take total worldly power, the sword, to force everyone into line. And get this, these are the exact 3 things the devil offered Christ in the wilderness, and he turned them down. The Inquisitor says, yeah, we picked them up. And then he just drops the bombshell. He straight up admits that the church has sided with Satan. They've taken on the devil's methods, temptation, control, power, to build their kingdom. They do it all in Christ's name, of course. He admits it's all a massive deception, but a necessary one, he says, for the good of the flock. So what does this world look like? Well, it's a kind of totalitarian utopia. Everyone will be happy, but like children are happy, blissfully ignorant.
They'll even be allowed to sin because the rulers, the elite few, will take all that guilt onto themselves. You get this picture of billions of happy babes being managed by a handful of people who are suffering under the weight of this terrible, secret truth. Now, through this entire epic, soul-crushing monologue, the prisoner has said nothing, not a word. But now, as the old man finally finishes his rant, we get a response. And it's not at all what you'd expect.
You can just feel the old man's desperation. He's poured out his entire life's philosophy. He needs his prisoner to say something, anything, even if it's angry or hateful. He wants a debate. He needs to be validated. But the prisoner just keeps looking at him with this quiet, gentle expression.
And his answer, when it comes, isn't words. He silently gets up, walks over to this bitter 90-year-old man, and softly kisses him on his old, pale lips. That's it. That's the whole rebuttal. It's this act of pure, unconditional forgiveness that cuts through all the logic and cynicism without a single word.
The Inquisitor is completely shaken. The text says he literally shudders. That kiss landed. It got through to him, but he can't or won't accept it. He just opens the prison door, lets the prisoner walk out into the dark city streets and tells him, "Go and never, ever come back."
And this is the final, tragic line of the story. That kiss, that moment of pure grace, glows in his heart. He felt its truth. He knows. But he still sticks to his plan. He walks away and continues to live his life based on the ideology he spent a lifetime building, even after he's been shown it's wrong. So in the end, Dostoevsky leaves the question hanging for us, the reader. It's a deeply personal one. The Inquisitor offers us a world without pain and without hard choices, but the price is our freedom. Christ offers us total freedom, but it comes with suffering and the heavy burden of choice. There's no easy answer here, which is exactly why this story still haunts us hundreds of years later.